Okay, perfect. Okay, let's.
Thanks.
You want to start?
Okay.
Mr. over to you.
Oh, Mr. Vishwini, over to you. Yes.
Thank you, Asad. Thank you, Mr. Ahmad. Good
Yeah.
morning, fellow entrepreneurs and business people of South Africa. It's our pleasure to welcome you to this webinar, The Art of Pitching today. We hope you are all going to enjoy it. Mr. Ahmad Joseph has got more than 20 years experience in the banking sector, where he used to receive applications for people who need funding, and he's quite conversant in terms of what needs to be in your business plan and things like that. So the art of pitching, which is coordinated by SEDA, Small Enterprise Development Agency, which is a division of the Department of Small Business. It's a first of its kind today, and next week on the 10th, we've got the second one. Please visit our SEDA website, www.seda.org.za. You'll find what's all the webinars sessions that are coming up from tomorrow and all the other days. Yeah, welcome and please enjoy. If you've got any questions, please raise them. We've got the chat box. You can log into the chat box and yeah, feel at home. And over to you, Mr. Ahmad Joseph.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Msweni. Mr. Msweni is a senior manager at SEDA up in Pretoria. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about the art of pitching. Now, pitching, as you know, would be something that you use not only for funding, but to communicate if you want someone to buy into your idea. So I'm going to put something up on the screen here. Asad, can you see that? Asad, are you able to see that?
Let's see.
Okay, let me just do it again. Are you able to let me, okay, can I?
Share screen, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay,
You're
right,
sharing a screen?
excellent.
Yes.
So,
perfect.
We're talking about the art of pitching. If you've got an idea, for argument's sake, how do you sell that idea? Now, when people pitch, like in baseball, you pitch, someone else is going to catch. You pitch, there's a batter, and someone else catches. Now, the ones that catch is called your audience. Now we look at, pitching is an opportunity for ideas to be tested, for their innovativeness against real competitors. With pitching, when you pitch, you can get visibility. Your idea gets momentum, and it can actually be realized. If you want to attract investment or loans, the investor needs quality deal flow. So what he's going to do is they're going to listen, but you need to pitch something that's meaningful. Our problem is we just talk. Now, generally, less is more, especially in pitching. Don't talk just because you're talking. Know exactly what you're going to say. Prepare what you're going to say and stick to whatever you've prepared. Don't change because something came into your head. So pitching and perfecting. You pitch and you make sure you work towards getting a perfect pitch. It's a creation of a challenging but enabling environment. It's not easy. Pitching, you're up there, you're in the limelight, but at the same time, it's an enabling environment to get your idea across. You can share your ideas and you can get feedback. You might think you're on the right track, but you might find that others don't think so. You'll get feedback on things you didn't think about. You know, you can refine your presentation, you can distill it, and you can actually refine your business case. You know, you can improve, while you're doing it, you improve your presentation skills and you become more confident. Now, let's get into pitching itself. You know, a lot of people make the huge error of not preparing. They go pitch without knowing the audience, what the audience is looking for, what the audience wants. And they go and they just glibly talk. So they haven't prepared, they haven't found out about the catches or the audience. They merely talk and they completely miss the boat. So you need to do research. What is it that the party or parties you're pitching to, what is it that they really want? Now, in business, it's always about preparation, and pitching is probably the height of that. You need to be so prepared. You need to be completely prepared. You know, you give them a message that they want to hear, because if you're telling them things that they want to hear, they'll participate. And if they participate, let them participate. But for pitching generally, you get, let's say, 3 minutes, and you cannot, in that 3 minutes, nobody participate. You give your pitching for 3 minutes. Thereafter, you'll have a question and answer, Q&A, where the audience will ask you questions that you weren't clear on. You know, you need to refine or distill your business plan into a catchphrase, a brief investment case. You know, you give a short presentation of your business case. What is it you're telling them? What is your business about? What's your product about? Why are you actually looking for doing the presentation? Are you looking for funding? Are you trying to sell an idea? And then you need to create an ROI, a return on investment, because whoever's going to listen to you and accept your proposal, they want to know what's in it for me. What is my return on investment going to be? So there are different types of pitching. You know, the one, if you go to a bank and you're going to pitch to a couple of credit managers and sales managers, you're going to have judges, people listening. Or you can be pitching to a wider audience where you use slides and props to get your point across. Then you get the elevator pitch. It's here, you're on the 32nd floor of a building. You know, you see a CEO or an MD of a company that you're trying to sell your idea to, or even your own MD. You've got from while you're waiting for that elevator to open until he gets downstairs and he's going to get out. So you've got what, 3 minutes to get his attention, get him to say, you know, I want to hear more. So you've only got that 3 minutes. If you don't use it wisely, you don't get to your point, he's going to walk away and you lost that opportunity. And that's what they refer to as an elevator pitch. Then obviously the movie pitch, you know, like our friend Donald Trump used to have. Now you see when you do a pitch, we call it a pitch deck. Or in this case, we had slides, a pitch slide deck. You know, the questions we ask, what is this pitch all about? And then, why am I doing the pitch? And then finally, how am I going to do the pitch? Now, the what is your concept? What is your business idea? So that is what you're going to have to explain. Your business idea, your concept. That's the what. Then also in the what is the problem that you're trying to solve? What is the pain you're trying to relieve? So that's where you bring up the problem statement. And then you look at the market. What's the size of your market? You have a big market. So that's all the what. Then from the what, you go into why are you doing it? In other words, is there an opportunity? What is that opportunity in the market? We are entrepreneurs. An entrepreneur is not someone merely selling stuff. An entrepreneur is someone who looks for a gap in the market that the market wants, and he satisfies that need in that market, that gap, he fills that gap. That's the opportunity. But there's always competition. You know, you're not going to be the only one selling or offering that service or product. You're always going to have competition, unless you have monopoly. Then most importantly, you look at your business model. Now that's going to be the main part of today's webinar. We're going to look at the business model and how we're going to explain the business model through a business model canvas. And I'm spending quite a bit of time on that. Now we're looking at, that was all the why. In your presentation, why are you doing it? Why are you in business? Then finally, what they're going to want to know, they know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Now you need to explain to them how you're going to do it. Now, when you get to the how, you need to look at what is that special sauce I have that the others don't have. So now you're looking, you need to give them that special sauce, that's something different. Then you need to explain to them the numbers that you think you can actually get. And then finally, so what? That is a call to action. A call to action by your audience. They need to now say, you know what? We like that. This is actually good. We'll take action. Then now we go to the actual pitch deck. You know your intro slide. You'll see what Asad put on here while we were waiting. He put on what Ulwazi does and why and who's sponsoring this, which is SEDA. So that's all in the intro slide. That's free advertising before we get started. So that's your intro slide, your business, what you're projecting, and your business, the description of your business idea. Now, if it's not attention grabbing, if it's boring, mundane, you're losing people up front. So it must be something that's idea catching. It must actually have a catch line, something so people will remember. Put a picture there of something even silly, just to get their attention. That's your intro slide before you even get started. Now we said the what, we spoke about, firstly, we spoke about the concept. So now, the concept, you show your product or your service or the project, whatever you're selling. So you show them that. And then you explain to them what your business does. How does it work? But keep it very simple. Don't let them sit wondering what you're talking about, because they're going to get stuck on that, and it needs to be very clear, very unambiguous. Then secondly, we look at what problem are you trying to solve? What pain has the customers got that you're trying to relieve? This is where you put in your problem statement. So why are you doing this? Why are you bringing this product in? Why do you have this particular idea? Why are you offering the service that you are? Then also, why is there a need in the market? Why is there a market gap? What's the reason for that? And then we're looking at why is the problem worth solving? Why is the pain worth relieving? And not only why is it worth solving, why right now? Why is this the right time? Why not? Why wasn't it done before? Why can't you do it later? Why is this time so important? We need to address that. Not only the problem, the solving of the problem, but the timing now. Then we're looking at the size of the market and the traction. Traction, why will you be able to get people to come to you, to get the traction for people to come? So you look at the current size of the market and your target customers, the people you actually want to attract, your target. And I'll go into more detail later. And then how are you going to reach them? Through what channels are you going to reach them? And then we're looking at what evidence is there in the market? Why are the people excited about the possibility? Is the price, can they see that they're going to benefit from a lower price? You know, the volume, is there a large volume out there? You know, will your quality be of such a standard that people will actually want to buy it, or they want your service because your quality is going to be above par or so unique or what? And then the delivery. What's so special about your delivery? Delivery being the channel, the distribution channel. So that is all under the what. Then we're looking at the why. When we look at the why, we need to say, you know, have my company got the experience to do this? Do we have the experience within the company? Do we have the capacity to do it? You know, we want to do something, but we don't have enough people. We don't have enough resources. So we don't have the capacity. So we need to explain to them what our experience is in this particular project or market, and then also that we have capacity. So have we done this before? If we have, how many times? You know, how well? So you're going to talk about who is the jockey, you know, like a jockey and a horse. The jockey is the people. The horse is the business. You know, if you've got a good jockey, he will win even if he's in a race, even if he's riding a donkey. No, probably not. But, you know, if you've got a good jockey, your chances of winning is better. Who is the team? You know, your team is comprised of a lot of people with a lot of experience, with a lot of talent, with a lot of skill, who've proven themselves in the market, people who are reputable and known about. And then why are you suited for success? Why will you succeed if you should embark on this? What is it that gives you the impression and will give them the impression that you are going to succeed? There's no doubt you're going to succeed. Now, obviously, in any business, you need to do competitor analysis. Who are your competition? What alternative products are there to what you're offering? You're offering this. What are the alternative products? How strong are your competitors in comparison to you? In other words, you know, these guys, they own the market already. So how are you going to feature in that? How are you going to get market share? How are you going to get traction with your clients? Then the big thing, under why, your business model. Now, I'm going to go into a lot more detail after this. I just want to first explain the pitching side. So business model, how are you going to make money? How's your company going to make money? What are your revenue streams? How are you going to get your income? What you know what I mean? What are those streams of revenue? What are your channels, your distribution channels to get your service out to the clients that you've targeted? What channels are you going to use? Telephone, email? So, and then you look at your cost. You identify what are your three biggest, your major costs. Rental, salaries normally. Then we're looking at giving numbers. It's all about numbers. Business, all about numbers. It's normally cheaper, better, faster. You know, we need to do it on the cheapest way, economy. Then we're also looking at efficiency and then effectiveness, faster. So efficiency, economy, and effectiveness. You know, when you're speaking and you're pitching, don't be vague. Don't hypothecate. You know, if this should happen, that's going to happen. Don't be vague. Give facts, not fiction. Then, what kind of investor are you looking for? Are you looking for an investor that's going to give you a loan? Debt? Is it going to be debt funding, a loan? Or are you looking for equity? You know, I don't have money to repay now, but I'll give you a share in my company. Now, if you're going to do that, you must be aware of all the pitfalls, because you're going to have other people participating in your business, in the decisions. That could be troublesome. Now, how are we going to do it? What is your special sauce? You know, it could be your innovation, the innovativeness of your service, the innovativeness of your product. So here we're talking about creativity, innovativeness. Or we can talk about differentiation. Why are we different? Or we've got a competitive advantage. What is that unique selling proposition we're talking about? It could also be we've got certain intellectual property that others don't have. Now, in the special sauce of the how, you need to come up with a unique story. You need to come up with some magic. You need to capture the imagination of your audience, of the catchers. If you're going to go there and espouse same old, people are going to fall asleep and not listen anymore. Now we're looking at the numbers, because when you're speaking to someone who's going to invest, he's going to want to know what's in it for me. What's my return on investment? What's my internal rate of return? So you need to quantify, put it into numbers. What's the expected revenues to come in that you expect your revenues, your income? And what expenses will you have? You know, how flexible is your cost going to be? Will it always be at that rate? Or will it, the more you buy, the less it's going to cost you? Is there cost flexibility? Is what you're going to do, is that going to be scalable? In other words, you know, it could work on a small scale, but when you try and do it on a bigger scale, it might not work. So is it scalable? Can you scale it up or scale it down? Then you're looking at the amount and the type of funding required. We spoke about loan funding. We spoke about equity funding, where they get shares. So we want to know, how much money do you want? I want R1 million. But what kind of loan? I want to loan R1 million. Then the next question is, how are you going to pay it back? Over what period will you pay these people back? And at what amount will it be that you need to pay it back? And can you accommodate that amount? Have you got the capacity in your business? Is there sufficient disposable, you know, at the end, when you've paid all your expenses from your revenue, from your income, is there enough money to service that debt? Because if you don't have enough money after you've paid your expenses, how are you going to afford to repay? That's a worry. So now you end up with, so what? The so what is your call to action to the catchers, to the audience, to the investors. You know, you need to now take the next step, audience, to say, listen, they need to understand what's in it for them. You call them, you tell them what's in it for them. You've explained to them what it is, and now you need them to take action. Now, just some tips when you pitch. Always remember, less is always more. As an ex-banker, people used to come in and they used to tell me, they used to volunteer information that actually was detrimental to the application. I wouldn't have asked them that, but they volunteered it and they gave me all the wrong information, which led to the application being declined. So grab the attention, we said, is key. Give them, you know, these catchphrases, get their attention, and then detail comes once they're listening. Once you've got the interest and the attention, then you can start telling them stuff. But if you didn't grab the attention, then they're not going to listen properly. They need to, you must first get the attention. They must want to say, that's interesting. I want to hear more. Then you can tell them more. You know, we call it professional enthusiasm. You know, you need to excite the investors with your story. They need to see this particular person is passionate about what they're saying. They're passionate about their business. But we do it in a professional way. You know, we're talking about, we cement our passion where they can see, you know, if he or she is so passionate, we need to be passionate as well, because that person's going to make it work. Now we look at, as we spoke about earlier, don't hypothesize, don't make up, don't fabricate. If this will happen, you know, in a case like that, don't hypothecate, execute. Give people facts, not fiction. Before you're going to tell people stuff, don't say the market likes. Don't talk relative. Give people real facts, real numbers. If you have to borrow equipment, if you have to even try selling others' products, you need to get your facts right. You know, we're afraid about failures. You know, we had a case where in one of my classes, someone told me, you know, I was in business for 2 years. I lost a lot of money. You know, what a failure. What a disaster. I said, no, that was actually an investment. The person said, how the hell do you mean that's an investment? I lost money. I said, yeah, you lost money, but it's an investment in yourself. You now know, you've experienced what doesn't work. You've experienced failure. That makes you more determined to learn from what the mistakes. Don't regret, don't look back, you can't change. Look forward, act in the now, act in the present, but look forward, work forward. You know, when you're pitching, you need to be humble. You cannot be arrogant. Nobody likes listening, seeing an individual who's arrogant. They're not going to listen to you. When you come with this big deal type attitude, nobody listens. Be humble. You know, we say stay paranoid. In other words, not to be negative, but be paranoid. Paranoid related to risk. Look out at staying paranoid would be your risk management strategy. What is risk? Risk is anything that can go wrong. So when you stay paranoid, you think, what can possibly go wrong in future, so that you can put things in place, you can put steps in place that you will not make those mistakes. So you mitigate your mistakes, you make them less by staying paranoid, and then keep on executing. Don't talk, execute. Then we're looking at You know, it says, choose not to be the smartest person in the room. People make a presentation and think it is expected that they know everything. They are expected to be the knowledge guru, the SME, the subject matter expert. No, don't choose to be the smartest person. Your audience might have people who know more than you do. So what we're saying is you need to know what you know. So, and you also need to know what you don't know. Because what you're going to do is you're going to pretend you know and wing it. Never wing it. Never go out and just talk glibly. Don't pretend in pitching. People will see through it. You will lose credibility. So if you don't know something, go out and find people who will know the answer to it. Don't be embarrassed to go and find out, because that could be what's going to hurt your presentation, and that's going to be what cost you that investment or that buy-in, whatever your pitching intends. You know, when you are pitching, another additional tip, what will make your presentation? It's the sense of reality. Don't talk pie in the sky. You know, these things are all possible. That can happen. No, talk reality. What will happen? Make the experience credible and believable. And obviously, bring in from failures that you're going to learn from. You won't make that same mistake twice. You know, where I come from, the principal said, a donkey only trips once. You know, what will also make it is give a crisp, clear message. So don't be ambiguous. Asad, I think someone needs to be muted. Give a crisp, clear message of innovativeness, innovation, growth and growth possibilities, sustainability. Define what opportunities there are in the market. Define what people are willing to pay. You did a survey, you found out based on fact, not what you thought or your friends thought. You know, you need to talk about market traction. Why will you attract the market? You know, mostly in business, people think it's all about this great idea that's going to make your business succeed. Consensus, business studies have shown, when in business, it's generally your idea, 10% idea, but 90% hard work, 90% sweat and tears, 90% working through the night, overtime, whatever. Then, if you assume anything, make sure you ratify that assumption, you validate it. Is it the right assumption? Is it the right, if you're going for differentiations, get your facts right. You know, your real requirements or needs, what you do with it. So those are things that will make your presentation. What will mess up your presentation? What will break your presentation? You know, the typical crazy, lazy, hazy claims. Some crazy, far-fetched, just because you're lazy and you come with this very hazy, people can't actually verify it. You generalize. You talk about these very complex structures that really confuse everybody. That does not work. It does not sell. You know, your inability to explain something quickly and clearly, what you actually do, explain it clearly and quickly. Don't fixate on any idea. You see, If you haven't done it, don't fixate and talk about it. Don't carry on waffle about that. You need to know what you want to do. So you got that, and this is what I want to do with it. Be clear. If you don't know, it's going to actually create doubt in the minds of your audience, the catchers. And we spoke about humility. Don't be arrogant. That puts people off. And even if they like your idea, they probably won't like you. And you and your idea is inseparable. People won't actually want to buy in. That's a very important point. You know, generally when people judge your presentation, you know your product and your service. How are you going to solve a problem? How are you going to take the pain away, relieve pain for the client that they're having? How are you going to be innovative? Those things count for 25% of the way people look at it. You know, is there demand for your product? Is there demand for your brand? What does the market? Does the market want that? You know, in marketing, they call it the 4 Ps. The product or the service, just P for product. The place where you're going to be selling your product or giving your service. The price of your product or service, and how you're going to advertise and promote it and market it. Those are the 4 Ps of marketing. How are you covering that? They can listen to that. I need to just tell you here quickly, Asad at the end will just give you a presentation that someone's done. Then you can actually look, and you can look for these things in that. Unfortunately, we're only doing this in 2 hours. We cannot do what we'd like to do. It's not realistic. So we're doing the best that we can with the time given, the resource and the time given. We entrepreneurs. We don't see problems. We look at solutions. That's what an entrepreneur does. Look for solutions, not mini moaners who complain about all the problems. We look for solutions to problems. You know, with the market demand and the brand, can your team offer quickly? Can you outpace the competitors? Do you have the capacity to grow, to penetrate other markets? Because if you can't prove that, it means you're going to stagnate, and nobody's going to put money into a business that's going to stagnate. Now we look at the third 25%, the third quarter. Will you make money? Have you got a 5-year profit and loss projection, a cash projection, cash flow? Will you have the money all the time? A lot of businesses, they're profitable. They buy something for 100 Rand, they sell it for 400, extremely profitable, but they don't have the cash in the business, the cash flow to sustain their business. So they go under, they go bankrupt, not because they're not profitable, because they don't have the cash to sustain. Cash in a business is like blood in a human being. You don't have blood, you're going to have a stroke. A business don't have money, it's going to actually have a stroke. It's going to actually have to close. You can't pay your staff, you can't pay your creditors, you can't pay your debt. Then, is the company looking for startup finance? Now, when you're asking for startup finance, people become very wary. Because if you're going to start a business, you put the money in yourself. Once you run it, Asad, I think it's people that hasn't been muted. Hello,
Hi
sir.
guys,
Hello.
can I ask the people to unmute themselves kindly? Hi everyone, can I ask you guys to be unmuted?
Asad, you can mute. You can mute everyone.
I've muted everyone. I've just seen that some people are unmuting themselves. I'm not sure how they're doing it, but some people are unmuting themselves. Again, just asking them to keep themselves muted, because I'm unmuting them and some of them are just unmuting themselves.
Right, okay, moving on. Thank you very much. Thanks, Asad. Thanks, Khaladi. Okay, you know, if a company is looking for startup capital, startup finance, investors get very nervous. You know, we'll give you money once you're running, but if you're asking us to give you the money, you don't know if you're going to succeed. You don't succeed, you walk away. So startup finance work with gearing. Gearing is how much of your own money are you putting in and how much money do you want to borrow. If you're putting a lot of your own money in, we call it you're lowly geared because you're actually running the business on your own money. You only want a little top up. But if you're putting in very little and you're borrowing a lot, you're highly geared. What does that mean? You mess up the business, you walk away. No big deal. You're only losing a little. The lender, the financier loses the money. Then also looking at how much of your costs are fixed. Like your rental. You don't pay a different rental every month. So how much of your cost is fixed? And how much of your cost varies? If you're in the clothing trade, you know, you're making 100 dresses, you're going to need so much fabric. If you're only making 30 dresses, you'll need less fabric. So your cost will be less. Your electricity will be less. Then, if you are financing expansion, you need to prove that your business has the capacity to grow. A lot of businesses we find, they want to grow too quickly, or they grow too quickly. The end result is they grow themselves out of business. They get into a spot where they have cash flow problems, etc. So financing expansion sometimes is good for funders, but often they're very wary of that. Then they look at your overall presentation, your personality. You know, if you're going to talk in the same vein all the time and you are going to have a monotone, how are you going to catch your audience? How are you going to catch the customers later? You need to show entrepreneurs are normally, they're outgoing. They got this outgoing personality. If you're an introvert, very difficult to be an entrepreneur unless you have monopoly. So they look at your presentation skills, you know, your pitch, how that pitch was. Are you making eye contact or are you just reading from a script all the time? At what pace are you talking? Are you talking at the same pace all the time? People fall asleep. You know, your manners, your dress code. Imagine a surfer going to talk to a bunch of senior executives in his slip-slops, short pants, sweater, and he's going to talk to a bunch of executives in their pinstripe suits. How's that going to work? Probably not very well. You know, they're going to look at your slides. Do you have too many slides? You're just talking from the slides. You're not even looking at them. You're not bringing anything new. They look at things like that. Then they look at your ability in the Q&A to answer questions they have. And then ultimately, whatever you pitch, that business, is it worth investing money in? You know, have that person convinced me? Has the pitcher convinced me to put money into that business? Because if that person's not very convincing, we're going to have a problem. Now we're going to be looking at, I said we're going to be talking about the business model canvas. Now the business model canvas, let's start with, I said, what is a business model? You know, the business model describes the rationale, the reasoning behind how the organization or the company creates value, how they're going to deliver value, how will they be capturing value. That is the business model. Now, to design this business model, we use something called a business model canvas. Like, you know, you're doing a painting, you have this empty canvas you start painting from. Now, with your business model, you've got a canvas. Now, this canvas has 9 building blocks, right? there's 9 building blocks with 9 little sections, but I've tried to color code it for a reason. You see, this business model canvas, you're going to use as a strategic management tool where you can develop you can develop a new business model with this business model canvas. You can also use the business model canvas to document an existing business model you have. So you want to document it, you use the canvas. So it's not only for new, wanting to have a new business model. You could also use a business model canvas if you want to define a business idea or a business concept. You can see it's a visual chart. You can see it, one pager, you can look at everything. If you want your staff, you've got a big staff, to come up with a business model, you get this big business model canvas, you put it on the floor, on the table, and you give them Post-its. And they can stick the Post-its in depending on what section. But this business model canvas, what it's going to do, as I say, it will allow the business to look at its value. It's got a value proposition in the center. What value are you going to deliver to your client? With what you're selling, we want to know what value we're going to get out of this. So we place that in the middle. It's all about the customer and what value you're able to offer. On the right-hand side, you're going to find all the external factors. So the external factors of the business. So as I said, there's 9 building blocks. In the middle is your value proposition. On the right is the external factors, and that will be your customer segments, your customer relationships, and your distribution channels.
Hi, Ahmad. It's not showing. Your slide is not showing.
It's not showing?
The business
I can see the slide.
Let me just have a look quickly. Sorry, let me just have a look
I can
again.
see the slides. Mr. Joseph, I can see the slides on my side. Judging criteria, financial strategy, overall presentation.
Let me just see why you guys.
I'm viewing it on my side.
That's I'm confused.
But the business model canvas is not showing the financial strategy and overall presentation is showing, not the business model canvas.
Okay. So on this one, can you just come have a look here quickly, man? Just come have a look here quickly. Okay, here we go. Just hold on, guys. Resume share. Okay, let's close.
You're on share. You just have to change your.
I've got that going, but I'm a bit concerned why you people.
I can see your screen. We can see your screen.
Can you not see my business model canvas?
We can see your screen, but it's not showing the business model canvas. It's showing the judging criteria example.
So this would just come here quickly. Okay, the business model canvas. Now we just get share screen quickly. Share screen.
The share screen. Your screen is shared. You just have to click on the.
Guys, here we go. Now we got it. You should have it. Can you see it now?
Yes, it's perfect.
Can you guys see it? Okay.
Clearly.
Thanks very much, Mr. Sweni. Now we know why you Joburg guys are here. To what? To check up on our Cape Town guys. So as we're saying, sorry, just going back again, you know, your business model canvas will have the value proposition. I tried to color code it. Your value proposition, there's 9 building blocks. In the 9 building blocks, you'll find in the dead center in the middle is your value proposition. Then we're going to have on the right-hand side, all things external to the business. In other words, we said customer segments, we're going to be doing customer segmentation. We're going to be looking at customer relationships and the various distribution channels. On the left of the value proposition, it's the infrastructural building blocks, the the internal things to the business. We're looking here at what's the key activities, what are the key resources in the business, and who are the business's key partners. So that's 3 on the right, 3 on the left is 6, 1 in the middle is 7, and the bottom 2 building blocks is your financial building blocks. That's going to talk about your cost structure. What is each of these segments, these other 7 elements? What will the cost be of those elements? The cost structure you're looking at, and the revenue streams at the end. How much money will we be making? How much money will your business be making? In a nutshell, people, this business model canvas will ensure that you focus on the important points. You concentrate on the key areas, and you won't be all over the show. You concentrate only on key areas, and it's a visual thing. You see it, you know where you're going, right? So we also we're looking at things like, as I said, the different elements. We're looking at what resources will your business require to do what? We will look at how much money will flow, our revenue stream and our cost, how much is going to flow in our cost and flow, and we're going to get back a revenue stream. We can see that, how much money flows in and out of our business. We'll be able to demonstrate how the various segments, areas, how they are intertwined and interrelated. You know, it will enable us to get a better understanding of our business through a process of connecting these various elements. And so doing, we'll be able to take our idea and transform it into a business, right? So what, questions we're going to ask when we do these business model canvases. The questions we ask are, what problem are we trying to solve? What problem has this client got we're trying to solve? In other words, he doesn't have fresh bread. You know, that area, there's no fresh bread in the morning. That's the problem there. They don't have fresh milk. So what problem are we trying to solve? What pain are we trying to relieve? Pain could be the prices are too high. So maybe we can come in with lower prices. We relieve the pain of pricing. We could relieve a pain of opening times. Businesses all only open at 9, but people come there, they're hungry. They come to work, they want to buy something. So you go in, you open at 7. You give them that convenience. Hence, you're solving a pain of time, of their timing when they're coming in. So, but we also need to understand why would the client or the customer, why does he want this problem solved? We need to understand that, his mindset. We need to get to the customer's mind. We need to ask them. We can't assume. We need to look at what are the underlying motivators for this problem or pain. Now, getting back to these blocks we spoke about, these boxes, what we're going to do is we're going to look, as I say, at our external on the right, our internal on the left, and as they interact, we actually get our value proposition. Our value proposition takes both sides and they come together to create our value proposition to the clients on the right. So clearly the most important part is on the right, to keep our clients happy. Some will tell you at the bottom, minimum cost, maximum revenue. But if you're just going to look at that, you're only looking at yourself. You're going to have unhappy clients and you're not going to be in business for very long. You're not going to have sustainability. So what we are saying is, let's go on. You see, I see I'm running out of time. I'm still giving it over to Asad, so I better move a bit quicker here. when we start with our business model canvas, we need to first, before even look at any of these 9 building blocks, we need to have a clear picture in our minds. What is the purpose? What is our purpose for being in business? Why are we in business? Now, you might say, now, what do you mean? Are we in business to make profit? Are we in a business to create wealth? That's the normal one. But you might find there are some businesses that were created to, the person had a job, he was retrenched. All he wants to do is just supplement, get enough money so he gets an income. He don't want to grow his business. He's not interested. He just wants sufficient income. He will do that with that in mind. You can have some people that start businesses with a social intent, you know, to assist the needy. So they are governed. They will act, you know, with different intentions. It's going to guide them differently. So you need to have a very clear picture in your mind. Are you starting a business to create jobs? Because the people are, whatever it is, now this purpose, you must always bear that in mind. People take that for granted. What I'm asking you, be mindful of your purpose at all times. Let that be your guiding light while you're looking at this. Now, the first one, I've put little blocks at the bottom, so you can see I'm going to go through it in that fashion. Like 1, we're looking at, firstly, the customer segments. Now you see, customer segments is which specific group of people are we aiming our services or our products at? We're not just going for, I often ask clients, who are your target market? Who are you targeting? Everybody, anybody, everybody. That you cannot run a business like that. You need to know who your target market is. You need to have customer personas. Customer personas could be, I'm looking for mothers, young mothers wants to buy nappies. I know they're going to be they had babies recently. They're going to be women. They're probably going to be fairly young. They're going to probably be, so you know exactly what you're looking for. You know, you've got a persona, a customer persona. You know, the next thing you're going to be looking at when doing this here, we look at the different needs of the customers. You know, they have different needs, different attributes. You know, so before we can implement any of our strategies, we need to know the characteristics, the attributes, the needs of the market that we're looking at. So customer segmentation in a nutshell would be, in practice, dividing our customer base into various groups of individuals who have similar ways, as I said, similar attributes, similar age, in age group, in gender, in interest, spending habits. So we're going to segment them like that. Now, when we're segmenting, we need to be 11 o'clock. When we're segmenting, we need to understand exactly what target market, what segment are we solving that problem for? What target market are we relieving the pain for? We need to know who are the people that will appreciate the benefit from the value proposition that we're giving them. We need to know things like these businesses. Does your value proposition appeal to women or to men or to both? What are the age groups? Young adults, teenagers, older people. You know, what are the characteristics of those who's looking to benefit from your value proposition. Now, just quickly, from our segmentation, there's different types of market segments. Let's just look at a couple. We could be looking at the mass market, like everybody wants to buy bread. We're looking at a niche market. A niche market is not everybody wants to buy a Rolex watch. That's a niche market. Who's going to spend so much money on a watch if it gives you the same time? Then we're looking at within the mass market, it can be further segmented. Like I said, people want bread, but some people want this expensive grain bread or brown bread or ever health breads. So you can further segment that. Then you can look at, a multi-sided platform or multi-sided market. Here we're looking at things like, let's take a bank. They have a credit card. They work with retailers. They got the credit card, but the person, the holder of the credit card, the customer, goes and uses it at the retailer he buys, and he pays with theirs. So it's a multi-sided platform, many sides to it. So we carry on. I don't want to spend too much time on this, because as I said, I've got 15 minutes left, and then I have to hand over to Asad. Then we're looking at, this is probably the most important part of the business model canvas. We need to look at what is it that we're giving our clients, that the client actually, why is he going to deal with us? What value are we going to deliver? Which customer problems are we solving? What pains are we relieving? Which needs are we satisfying? So basically, we're looking at, we need to have a very clear description of our offerings, our product offerings, service offerings, and how it's going to solve clients' problems and create value to the client. Let me just, no, I don't want to go mess with slides now. Okay, right. So, our value proposition will be what differentiates us from our competitors. What differentiates us? We're looking at what value will we be able to provide through, we create value through innovation, or innovativeness. We can create, our value proposition will be our performance, our exceptional performance. Maybe we have customization. We customize our products, we customize our service. We give them bespoke, tailor-made products. Our value proposition is our brand. People want to deal with us because of our brand, our status. It could be because our unique design. It could be because our lower, cheaper price. We could be reducing their cost. We could be, the risk that they normally associate with that product or service, we could be reducing that risk. We could be giving accessibility to something they won't normally have. It could be convenience. Now, those are all our value propositions. That is actually very, very important. We need to understand sometimes what is our unique selling proposition. What is our USP? Now value propositions can be quantitative numbers or qualitative. Qualitative, let's start with quantitative. We always want numbers. We're going to look at price. How much things cost? We're charging less, we're giving to you for cheaper. But also efficiency. Efficiency is time. In other words, if you get this, things get quicker. You can, if you buy Blitz, You can get your fire started quickly as opposed to using the old way of wood. So you're saving time, you're selling efficiency, you're selling time saving. Or is it qualitative? You know, the overall customer experience, the outcome of using our service or buying our product. You know, this value proposition is foundational to any business or to any business. It's the fundamental concept of exchange of value. The customer gives you money, you give him a service or a product. You know, now the value proposition is that foundation to the business. It's that fundamental concept of exchange between you and your customers. You know, because value is exchanging here. You know, when you're solving their problem, as I say, of giving them fresh fruit and veg, giving them fresh bread, you know, you're solving a problem. You're charging them less, you're opening earlier, you're relieving a pain. So our service or our product must either be a pain reliever or a gain creator, creating gain. So it's either our value proposition, pain reliever, problem solver, gain creator. You see, if our value proposition can be so unique, it mustn't be like everything else. It must be something different, something unique. I spoke about a unique selling proposition. You know, we give that value to clients that takes pain away, solves problems. You know, so they're going to look at what's compelling about our proposition. What's so compelling about our value proposition? Why will customers want to buy our product or use our service? These are things we think about when we look at our value proposition. We look at what core value are we delivering to our clients? What is that core value? You know, when we're looking at that, we understand that if our value proposition to our clients is not good enough, we're not going to be a very successful business. That will affect our efficiency, our effectiveness, and the economy, how much money we're going to make. Then we're looking at the next one is channels. So what is channels? What are distribution channels? They are the channels, the way you get your product or your service from your business to the client. That's the channel. You know, how are we reaching them? How are our channels integrated with other channels? Like your products being sold by at Pick and Pay. So it's your product, but being sold through another channel. How is it integrated? Then we're looking at which channel is the most efficient, what's best? Which one costs the least? Because we obviously want to do it. We find dealing online is easier than to go to people face to face, driving around. It's cheaper to go online, but is it most effective? So we need to see if we can integrate our channel with our customer routines. So the customer doesn't go out of his way. We integrate it into their routine. So what we're talking about is our value proposition, not our service only or our product, our value proposition. How do we deliver our value proposition to our clients? Through these channels. So it must be efficient, effective, quick, and cost effective. So, you know, but how do business, what's the various ways, the various channels we can reach our clients? Just to put it clear in your mind, we can use, the business can have a shop front 10 past. The business can have a shop front. So we interact with the client through our own channel. So that's the shop front. We can do it through things like partner channels. I spoke selling our products through someone else. We can do it through a combination of both. So not just we make the product, we sell it through a partner. We actually do both. We make it, sell it, and our partners do it. So we use both channels. We complement the channels. We work in cohesion. We work together. Then we're looking at things like, you know, when we're actually trying to communicate, let's just make it, for sake of time, I've only got 5 minutes left. When we're actually looking at our distribution channels, we need to make sure we use the best, the most efficient. So to do this, it's not, we think our channel is only to sell it to our client, to get our value out. Our distribution channels must also give us feedback. It must also inform our clients of what we're doing. So it's not only a sales channel, it's also a channel to communicate, give them information, get feedback from them. We're also going to be looking at things like, we need to know things like, do our clients, can we go through social media? Because that's a new imperative. We need to know where are our clients so we can target them and things like that. I'm not going to go through long, but you know, examples of channels would be social media, networking, viral marketing, affiliate. You use affiliates to actually market. You could be using trade shows. You could be using content marketing. You can use the new things like SEOs. Asad and them is good at that. That search engine optimization. These young people, they're good at these things. Okay, we've covered, I've only got to point 3 now. Point 4, customer relationships. Which types of relationships does our customer segment expect us to establish with them? Which ones have we established? How are our channels integrated with the rest of our business model? You can't have a channel and your business model with a disconnect. It's disjointed. That's not going to work. And lots of businesses have that, but they don't understand that they need to look at their value proposition and at their distribution channel and make sure that they work in cohesion, that they are not disjointed. Then we need to look at the cost, obviously, of our customer relationships. You know, we need somebody to be with the client all the time. It's costly because staff is normally our biggest cost. So we have one person sitting for half an hour with a client, with one client. What's the cost to us? We've got all these clients, half an hour with only one client. So those are the customer relationships we need to look at. You know, a lot of businesses depend entirely on customer relationships. Why customer relationships are important? You have a good customer relationship, you drop the ball, you make a mistake, the customer will be prepared to accept it. Hence, they're going to actually, they'll forgive you. They won't be so harsh on you. They won't hold it against you. You know, with these customer relationships, you're going to be looking at, you know, there are three strategies that businesses use: attraction, expansion, and retention. Now, attraction is when you try and get customers that didn't deal with you before, but you're looking for them, brand new customers. The problem with the attraction strategy is that it costs a lot of money to get new clients. You have to advertise, etc. Then you get an expansion strategy. Then, you know, for expansion strategy, you look at your existing customer base. You've got these customers already, but he's only buying one product from you. try him to get 2, try to get him to buy 3 products, 4 products. So you've got him already. Try and cross-sell to him. So that, and then the last one would be retention, where, you know, you've got the customer already. Ring fencing. Make sure he doesn't go elsewhere to your competitors. Treat him well. Have a good customer relationship. So, okay, I'm just quickly going to touch on the various forms of customer relationships. Would be personal assistants. We spoke about it. You know, where you've got a staff member dealing with them face to face. You can take personal assistance a step further. You're dealing with your bank. Your bank has a dedicated relationship manager for the affluent market. If you've got a problem, that she just look after 200 customers or 100 customers. She gives them, or he gives them, all his or her attention. That's like dedicated personal assistance. Another one you can use in customer relationships is self-service. You've got the self-service channel. All you need to do is make sure it works. Some customers don't want to speak to you. Business people don't want to speak to someone. They feel people aren't efficient. They go to a system, they use it themselves. Great. No interference. Nobody holds me up. I don't have to put up with inefficiency. So you have self-service, you have automated service, everything automatic. Similar to self-service, but more personalized. As is ability to identify yourself as an individual customer. It's automated. Like Amazon. You know, Amazon, you buy a book and they see, oh, the person like crime stories. They will recommend another book to you because, you know, they know this automated service knows the person likes that and they offer that to you. So, oh, this is available. Banks. You could draw money every time you draw 1,000 Rand. When you actually put it in the ATM machine, it says quick cash and it'll give you what you've been drawing. So you can just press that button. You don't have to type 100, etc. Then you're looking at co-creation. You know, what's co-creation? Co-creation is where you get your customer to give you input. So whatever product or service you offer, you know the customer wants that because they co-created that with you. So you know exactly what it is that they want and you make sure you can give it. The next step now, that was all external. Now we go to infrastructural or internal. What are...
Mr. Joseph, can I ask you on the...
I know I'm running short of time.
I'm looking at time, so I'm thinking maybe...
You're stop me. And that is, Asad, what you're going to have to do is, I'm going to have to run... People, why Asad is stopping me, you know, I wanted to explain the business model canvas in enough detail. You know, I could touch this on a very high level, but you won't have enough understanding and you won't be able to use and implement it. What we want to do, we need to explain to you things like a lot of viewers probably sitting here thinking, I'm here to listen, where can I get money? Now, just in that vein, I need to tell you something, people, and not because of any reason. We seem to think as South Africans that our funding must come from government. They need to solve our problems. But let me tell you, there need to be a strong partnership between government and corporate business because corporate has much more power than they think they have. They need to come to the party as well and assist our people so we can have enterprise development. We can't just leave it to one sector. Now, I've asked Asad to talk to where we can actually get this money, what the different types of lending is. So I know a lot of you have come in to listen to this. Asad, I'm going to have to just give you, I'll go until past, and I'll give you no time. But just, you know, like these series you have on television, people watch it when it comes to the good part. Then it gets cut off and say, wait until next week. Let's make it one of those. Sorry, not going along. I'm now going to speed it up a little bit.
If you can I think you can go through the numbers 5, 6, and 7. If you can just go through it in 5 minutes.
Yeah, no. Don't forget,
just briefly, not to go into in depth, and then yeah.
No, I'm going to give you 8 and 9. Then you can cover that, because what Asad's going to do as well, Asad's going to actually give you a pitch, so you can actually watch a pitch being done. We found a picture we're going to use. So key resources. Let's first key activities. It's basically things like, what are the activities? What are the key activities? Just read it from here with you. What are the key activities? Which key activities do our value propositions require? To offer this value proposition, what are the key activities required? What are the key activities in our distribution channels? What are the key activities to have the best customer relationships? What are our key activities to get the highest revenue, to get the most money back? Okay, so key activities that's fairly straightforward. Questions you'll be looking at for key activities would be things like, what resources would we require to make sure we can actually give the best, most effective in our activities? How long will it take? What expertise will we require? What technical development is required? Thereafter, we're going to be looking at our key resources. That says, what key resources do our value propositions require? So there's certain resources we need to have to offer our value propositions. We need to be able to look at our distribution channels, like and top, all very similar to the above. But without key resources, this business model canvas, it proposes that there are 3 business types. So our business canvas, model canvas, propose 3 core business types. And that's basically the business types of product, scope, and infrastructure. But what studies have shown is that they all tend to have very similar types of key resources. So questions we need to think about very quickly on key resources would be, what unique strategic assets, key resources, do we need so we can compete efficiently and effectively? What key resources is our value proposition we spoke about? And things like, what is the most important in our distribution channel? Now we're just looking at our key partners. Now, key partners, that's fairly straightforward. Our partners would be things like our suppliers, people where we buy things from, people who have to work with in partnership to deliver. Our distribution channels, we share distribution channels. So we'd be looking at things like, for key partnerships, we'd be looking at things like to get our business model work, what network of suppliers would we need? We need to understand what network of suppliers and partners will best make our business model work. That would basically be questioned we'd be looking at in general. We'd be saying things like, who are key partners, our suppliers, and what are the motivations for dealing with them? Why are we dealing with them? Good service, cheap price, whatever. And those will all go on our decisions to choose those partners. Asad, it's now 22 minutes
yes,
past.
I think we have to stop.
7 minutes over the time I promised.
Yes.
Thanks, over to you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, guys. On my side, I'm going to share with you. So we shared with you the attendance register. Many of you have been asking for the attendance register. Please note that the training is till 12 o'clock. So to get the full benefit, it will be best if you can stay till the end. But we are putting the attendance register through. The aim of the attendance register is after you fill in the attendance register, you'll come into the portal. And this portal will allow you, because many have asked for the templates and what Mr. Joseph has been sharing. So the portal will actually give you a step-by-step guide of each segment of the business model canvas. So we go more in depth. because of time, it's not possible to go through the whole business model canvas, everything in 2 hours. So that's why we got 5 sessions, and we've also built the online portal. On the online portal, you'll see there is free downloads that can be done. So you can download some of the templates, like if you did an income statement, we need a forecasting tool. It's all available. There's also a delivery of a pitch, of how a good pitch can be done. And there's also some compliance issues that you might want as a business owner, like tax compliance, like how to get a tax clearance certificate or a CIPC, check a CIPC status. So stuff like that has been shared also on the portal. So that's after you fill in the form, you'll get that. Okay. Just a reminder, we got a good questions, and I like the questions coming in. If I can ask everyone just to please put your questions in, because then we can address this on the future webinars that we will be presenting. So after this, we will go again nationally next week. But the week after that, we're going to go specifically to the provinces. So we're going to, each province will log in. There'll be 3 provinces logging in. And that allows to give us more time to speak directly with the business owners and address all the needs that they specifically have that's related to the business plan and business model canvas. So that is a nutshell of where we're at the moment. If you have a business plan and you have questions on your business plan, you're welcome on this portal to send an email, write a message, and when you send us, we will get that notification. You'll have a reference number, and it will allow you to either upload a part of your business plan so we can address it. So we really want to get your input from that. And please note, we are available. So please, if you could get this sooner, we'll go through the videos and build your idea. Perfect. The next part of what I want to go through now is the finance section. Now, Mr. Joseph spoke a lot on what the qualitative factors are. Your key resources, your customer segments, your key partners, but all of that has to equate somehow in your business plan to a monetary value, something that you can measure, something that's money-based. And the way we communicate money in a business is by the dreaded thing we call income statement and balance sheet and cash flow. It sometimes seems too daunting for the business owner. And I think a lot of it comes back to maybe the school days of accounting when you learned about debits and credits. So the debits and credits, maybe it wasn't that exciting for you. And yeah, so let's see how we can go through a template. And I'm trying to explain it in a simple way. Can I ask if we fill in the form, I just got one thing on the chat that the form's not opening. If I can just get a few, maybe a bit more feedback on the form, if the form's working while we're going through this, it will help.
Hi, it's opening on my side. It's working.
Okay, perfect. It should be working. Okay, perfect. It should be working. Perfect. Thanks so much. So once you fill in the form, you'll get the complete portal. I just recommend that when you go onto the portal, save the link. If you forget to save the link, then you've got the link. Okay. If we're going to ask everyone just to unmute themselves, just mute yourself. Okay, perfect. Yeah, okay, the link is working. I'm getting the feedback. That's great. Now to start off with, we have to look at our business model canvas, and with that, we have to put values to each part of it to enable us to build an income statement and build a balance sheet. Because ultimately, if you're looking at funding, or if you're looking to get an equity partner, or you're looking to go to a bank, they're going to request these documents, and this will be form part of your business plan. And this training is going to show you how the numbers fit in with your story. Now, the example I'm going to use in this case is a manufacturing company that's manufacturing hats and selling hats. So they make customized hats for ladies, and they've identified the market that that there's a need for this in the community, that people are looking for traditional hats, which is high quality, which I might not always get at a store or like a chain store. Now that I've identified the customer, they've got their price. So the price they're going to sell these hats for is, let's say, 100 Rand. So they're going to sell the hat for 100 Rand, and they've worked out that the cost to make this hat, like the materials, is going to cost 40 Rand. So that gives them a gross profit of 60 Rand. Now, it doesn't, people in business get confused between what is cost of sales, what's an asset, and what is operating cost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some examples of this business, of their full cost structure. So if it was a live session and we could all engage and it was a bit longer, I would have asked the audience like what type of costs you can imagine this business owner will have. So in this case, I'm just going to have to just give it to you one time and just explain it later. These are the costs that the business owner will have. They'll have materials. They'll have to deliver the hats to the different clients. So the clients that they've identified is boutique stores. So they're going to manufacture this to boutique stores. Another revenue stream they're going to have is they're going to provide training on how to manufacture these hats. And they're also going to sell directly to the market. Now, in order to do that, they have to call their clients. So if you have to call your client, think about it. You're going to have telephone costs to make the hats. You can have staff to make the hats. You can have staff that's going to maybe deliver the hats. You can have salespeople that's going to help sell the hats. You'll need premises. I mean, where the hats are going to be stored. Where are the hats going to be made? Now, these premises can either be owned or they can be rented. And this is important to note because whether it's owned or rented will determine where in your income statement or balance sheet these premises will fall under. Then you've got electricity. Electricity is an example of an overhead. You would have machinery to make the hats. Once again, you have to ask yourselves, is this machinery something that you're hiring, which is like renting, or is it something that you own? Because it'll affect if it goes into income statement or the balance sheet. And then lastly, you'll have some form of materials that you'll be using in your production, like maybe buttons that they'll be putting in the hats, or special type of materials in the hats. Now, to start off with, let's say that they have a revenue structure, and that's the revenue structure they have of the revenue streams. They've identified their segments. They're going to sell to the boutique stores, to the public, and they're going to have a training kit. Let's update the pricing. Not going to make a big difference. Okay, perfect. Now, the first thing we have to ask ourselves is, we have to build now this income statement and balance sheet based on the costs we have in this business and based on the income we have in this business. And we're going to use the business model canvas. And if you go to the videos on the portal, you'll go more in depth into the different segments. We will have to put values to each of those segments. So the most time to spend is maybe your key activities. Think about your key activity will require you to do something. But to do something, it will require you some resources, some type of infrastructure. And that is, you have to put cost to this infrastructure. So in our case, the materials, the wood and cotton, will be a cost. Now, costs are put in your income statement. So every month you put in your income statement all the costs. But now, where some business owners get confused, they're not sure what is the difference between gross profit and what's the difference between net profit. Now, the easiest way to explain the difference between net profit and gross profit is to understand the types of costs you get in the income statement. Now, the two types of costs you get in the income statement is, two main costs is your cost of sales and your normal operating costs, or what we call overhead. Now, to explain the difference in the two, I normally tell the business owners, if you look at your business and you look at how you obtain your revenue. Now, the way you obtain your revenue, you have to ask yourself, if I obtain that revenue, do I incur cost to get that revenue? And most likely, if you incur those costs to obtain that revenue, it's most likely a cost of sales, directly related to the revenue. Then you have to ask yourselves, if I don't sell this product, or if this product doesn't exist, would I incur these costs? And if the answer is yes, you will incur these costs whether you make the product or sell the product, then most likely that's an overhead. So in our case, regarding the hats, to give an illustration, the materials like the wool being used on the hat, that is a cost of sale, because if they're selling the hat and making the hat, that's the only time they can incur the cost. If no hats are being made or no hats are being sold, there won't be any wool that has to be bought for the business. So that's a cost of sale. So I'm going to highlight that. The delivery of hats. Now, the delivery of hats, it can be a cost of sale, or it might just be an overhead. So this is a gray area. I'm going to keep it blank as an overhead, because sometimes you could deliver the hats while you're meeting the client, or you're delivering the hats. You don't have a special delivery van. You may be dropping an invoice. So it's a gray area. Okay, not to get too complicated, I'm going to keep it as an overhead. Calling our clients. You call your clients whether they buy hats or not. You're not going to only call the client when they buy hats from you, so it will be an overhead. You've got wages. Well, you've got to pay staff to sell those hats. Your premises. If you rent premises in general, in most businesses, or in all businesses in my case, renting premises does not mean you're going to necessarily sell the product. So I can't put that under cost of sales. Same with electricity. Just because you incur electricity doesn't mean that you're going to make sales. Machinery, the same thing. Just because you've got machines doesn't mean you're not going to have machines and then you're going to just get the revenue coming in. But the production of the buttons and the buttons incurred, you'll only incur the buttons cost if you're actually selling the hats or making the hats. So that'll be your cost of sales. So in our example, we'll put in the cost of sales was 40 Rand. So if this client or this business owner has sold 100 hats at 100 Rand each, the revenue will be 100,000 Rand. We can agree on that. That's the income that they made. And at the same time, if 40 Rand was the cost of sale, we'll have 40,000 Rand in the cost of making the product, which gives us a gross profit of 60,000 Rand. Now, another word of caution is business owners must take note that the money you get from your sales isn't your profit, because you still have to buy the material. And then some of the wiser business owners, they say, okay, no, that's easy, I know that. So then they say, okay, cool, I bought my material, I paid for the buttons, I paid for my cost of sales, cool, that's my profit. They say that's gross profit, that's my profit. Now that's where the misconception comes in. That gross profit is only the profit that covers your cost of sales. This gross profit must still cover your overheads and your salary. And that's where most businesses fall short over the long term. They maybe make money in the short term in terms of the material costs, but then they can't pay the overheads. And this is where working capital comes important. Now let's add a few figures to our operating costs. And let's say that the premises and our electricity and our wages and our the telephone and our transport costs. Let's say that's all our overhead costs, and that comes to 45,000 Rand for the month. Okay, if that's 45,000 Rand for the month, our net profit will then be the 60,000 Rand minus the 45,000. So we make a monthly income of 15,000 Rand. That's our net profit we retained in the business after paying all our costs of sales and after paying all of our operating costs. Now this 15,000 Rand over a year, if you have to do this every single year, we'll get an income for the year of 180. Okay. And at the end of the year, the income statement gets canceled out, blanked out. We start from zero again. And all that profit that we made will then be taken to our balance sheet. So I'm going to put 180 here for our balance sheet. Okay. And our bank account will increase with 180,000 Rand. Now,
Another zero, Asad.
another zero. So can you see there's our balance sheet is balanced. We've got the assets of 430 and we got our equity and liabilities of 430. So we are in balance. Now there is more in-depth videos and we are going to go more in-depth into the balance sheet and in the cash flow in the future webinars we're going to go through. But for now, I just want to give a basic understanding of the relationship between the income statement and the balance sheet. And going forward, try and focus on seeing if your income statement is sound. Now, how do you know if you have a sound income statement? The first thing I mentioned was your cost of sales, to see if your cost of sales is realistic to your sales price to get a good gross profit. The second thing to take note of is, can your gross profit, do you have enough gross earnings to cover your fixed overheads, your fixed costs, which you can incur whether you sell your product or not, and the salary for yourself? You got to ask yourself that. Because what tends to happen in business owners when they start out, yes, you're selling a product for 100 Rand, yes, it's costing you 40 Rand, and yes, you're making a profit of 60 Rand per product. But if you're only selling 200 items, so not 1,000 items, you're only selling 200 items, what's going to happen here to the revenue? We're going to say 100 Rand times 200, we have 20,000. If you take 40 Rand times 200, you have 12,000. So if you have 12,000 gross profit, yes, you're making profit, but if your overheads are too much, can you see you're making a loss? Because your overheads are too much. And that's where most business owners go wrong. And the way to combat this is to not take on too much overheads and try and outsource stuff you can't do. So instead of employing staff to deliver the hats, you could maybe just get a courier to deliver the hats. So now you're actually only having costs on delivery only when you're incurring a sale. And those are the type of things we go more in.
Hello, Asad.
Yes.
There's a hand raised. Graham Daniels has his hand raised.
Thanks, Baba Skelo.
Thanks, Skelo. Can I just see quickly? I'm sharing my screen.
Graham Daniels, go ahead and ask your question.
Can I ask, sorry, yeah. Can I ask, we don't have enough time for questions now. Can I ask him just to put his chat in the chat? We are going to go through it more in depth in the following session.
Okay.
Because we still have to go through the pitch.
Thanks, Skelo. We'll just
Skelo,
take
thanks.
I missed by taking so long.
Perfect. So let's go through what I want to do now is I want to go through how a pitch should look like. And this is the end goal of where we would like every business owner who's joined us today to be able to deliver such a great pitch that we're going to be sharing with you now. So because you've been very, very forthcoming in allowing us to share this content, and I believe she's done a very good job in presenting her business idea. I'm just going to see if my sound is on. I'm going to quickly stop sharing. I'm going to find the video. We're going to play the video. And then after that, because we're going to go through load shedding, probably 12 o'clock on our side, we just like to thank everyone for joining us on this webinar. And please have a look at the portal that we've made for you guys. If you can go through the portal explains everything. It gives you, I mean, we really made it nice and easy for you to get the downloads and to watch the videos and to also register for the following upcoming webinars on this series.
Hi, Asad, just before we get to that, I just need to say we've got it. I'm going to put on our email address in the chat. If anybody has any questions, instead of putting it on the chat, you can email us and we can respond to you. I'm going to put our email address in the chat side. You can see it there. And just very quickly, we had someone from, let's just see, let's say they're actually at an incubator, watching it in a group session. So they want to know how they're going to do bulk attendance register. We just need to sort that out.
Okay, Mr. Joseph, on that one, if you've got a bulk attendance register, that link is a live link. You can click as many times as you want on that link. So as long as it's a different email address, we will know it's a different person, because we're identifying the person by email address, so that in future, if there's more content available, we will be sharing more content for you. So that's why in the form it asks you, do you want to tick for more content in the future or not? So yes, that link will work. You can share it
just the
with
last
more
thing,
people.
for Marius Leroux from SEDA and everybody else, if you want a copy of the recording, email us and we'll send it off to you. Thanks, Asad.
Okay, thanks. Let's go through the live pitch about what we had. Because share computer sound.
No.
Go for it.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
I am Spokazi Nkwiza, the founder and managing director of Kasi Labs, which is a training provider established to bridge the digital skills gap. We aim to empower young people with skills of the future. Our problem begins with Lerato, who is a 34-year-old living in Limpopo. She's currently doing her final year in engineering, and she aspires to be a drone pilot, since it's in the top 50 jobs of the future. However, there are no designated airfields in Limpopo. She has to travel to Gauteng, and that makes it too expensive and too far. The traditional academies cost between 25,000 and 30,000 rand. One could register for an honors degree. That is where we come in. Now, moving from contact training to digital training, we understand that CAA has allowed some trainings to be done via Zoom. Because of us, Lerato can acquire her RPA license by enrolling on our drone online course from our website and go through the following steps: screening, the online theory, the flight training practicals, which will be our drone simulated program, which includes 1 day of flying a drone, the CAA exams, which entail an assessment by a designated flight examiner, and upon succeeding, she will acquire her RPL, all for the total of 10,000 rands. She can pay that online, or she can choose to pay partially as she progresses in the phases of training. 50% deposit to cover her theory and exams, and 50% for the practicals and assessment. Since the course is constituted by 30% theory, 70% practicals, if she chooses to drop out, we have mitigated the loss. Did you know that a study conducted by Ken Research revealed that in South Africa, the e-learning industry is expected to reach over 8 billion rands by the year end of 2023. And that South Africa is the largest drone market in Africa. According to senior economist Dr. Roelof Botha, the South African drone industry could generate more than 2 billion rands per annum, which shows how powerful this transformative technology could be for our country. We target to aim young people between the ages of 16 to 40 living in townships and rural areas with specific focus in the TVET colleges. We intend to gain 1% of the serviceable addressable market. That will be 20 million rands by the end of 2023. We intend to train 2,000 drone pilots. We have identified all CAA approved ATOs, which are the authorized training organizations, as competition. However, we're willing to learn from them. We've got ProWing that was accredited since 2015 that has trained over 200 students. ARPES Academies that has trained over 700 pilots. Cranfield Aviation Training and UAV Industries and HeliX, which they are training as DroneX currently. They are offering an online theory course as we speak. Our competitive advantage is that we are offering an affordable and accessible solution. Labs was established in 2017. In 2018, we trained over 20,000 people with digital skills. In 2019, we got accredited with MICT SETA. In 2020, we joined the Drone Accelerator Program, gave free licenses as our minimum viable product. We are planning to collaborate with sovereign creatives from the Mzansi Drone Accelerator Program in order to acquire accreditation with CAA, MICT SETA, and TITA so that we can start training. And then hopefully by 2022, we would be a fully fledged ATO to sell licenses to the Department of Higher Education. We have a small team of 5 qualified resources, myself, Mpo, and we have 5 interns from the YES programs just for administration. We're looking to employ a flight instructor, a developer, and in summary, we are offering a drone online training course to college students and graduates. We are trying to solve a problem of accessibility and affordability of flight schools by offering a training at a reasonable price from a computer. For the marketing strategy, we plan to collaborate with our competitors through their enterprise supplier development programs. And for pricing, we will use low price, high value, which is just for market penetration. For the channel strategy, we plan to reinforce our partnership with Ekurhuleni West College. And for the product map, we rely on CAA to recognize our online courses. The company's primary source of revenue was training for kids, hosting digital marketing workshops, and career guidance seminars. The company has spent over 300,000 to get accreditation from MICT SETA. Our capital that we are requesting for is 1 million rand to ensure quality training with impact and to bring the business up to scale, which will be constituted by 500,000 rand as seed funding. We're also looking for a co-founder from the aviation industry to offer 250,000 rand for 5% of our shares. And the last 250,000 rand will be sold for 5% equity shares to investors. We can negotiate the rate of return. The capital will be used to get accreditation by CAA, apply for extension of scope from MICT SETA or TITA, hire a developer to develop the simulated training, train our staff to be flight instructors. We also need to buy drones and some licenses. Our non-financial ask is access to the markets from the Department of Education. In closing, last year I attended a pitch competition hosted by the Thriving Network in the Innovation Hub. There is a wall of fame there. I would love to see the names of young people from our communities on that wall next to Mark Shuttleworth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I, Spogazi, invite you to collaborate and partner with Labs in this journey of disruptive cutting-edge technology that will take education to the next level, where we will be the first women-owned company to offer training of this kind that will be designed and developed in the Ekurhuleni Retropolis.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys. I hope you found that information well. And I'm sure you can see that that pitch was really, really well prepared. We've now come to the end of the webinar. I'm not sure if Mr. Joseph would like to have a few last words On my side, I did want to go through, I'm not sure if I have time. I'm going to try and go through it. Let's see if we got time just to go through the different types of where you can get funding. So I built something, but I'm going to go through 2 minutes, but this is the next part of the next session. We're going to go through where to get and how to get your business funded, the different ways to get your business funded. So I just want to keep this in mind for the next session. We are going to go through this more in depth. As Mr. Joseph alluded, there's a misconception that government must help us with everything, with all money. But even if government helps you with a grant, that necessarily doesn't mean you got a sustainable business. A sustainable business is built on your actual business making and generating money. Yes, government can enable it to give it a cash injection, but that doesn't necessarily mean to profit. So we're going to go through, there's quite a few of them. There's quite a few of them. I will be sharing this on the portal also. But just to take note, there is different types of funding you get, and there's different ways to approach these funders. So your business model canvas and your business plan has to speak the language of each of these different types of funders and partners that you can get in touch with. So that's where the next sessions are going to come in, is how to customize your business model canvas and your message to appeal to each of these different types of funders out there. I put the 3 most obvious ones on top. Sometimes you tend to forget. If you have personal savings and if you have a full-time job, I always tell this to everyone who's got a full-time job. If you've got a full-time job and you've got disposable income and you have a dream out there that you want to do something different to your full-time job, you've got a passion, save a bit of money aside each month. And with that savings, you can always start that side hustle and make it a main hustle. That's my recommendation to everyone who's now in a fixed job and who's earning that extra amount of money that he can do something in the future with. Another way is to the business itself. If you have a business idea that's really well rounded and you're committed, your business itself should be able to slowly make the profit you need to grow. Then you've got family and friends. We don't have to go too much in that. We will discuss the government grants that's available. Now the government grants, we'll give you the portals or the websites you can go to. They change all the time. There's government initiatives that are changing all the time. There's always new funding available. And it depends on what the government needs and where this country is going and what needs have identified. So we just share a bit of that. There's different incubators and accelerators that help you with either access to markets or with business tools. We'll go through those. Then you've got additional bank loans, what you must say, what you mustn't say. You've got blended finance. That's a mix between a grant and a loan, which is becoming very popular now with COVID-19. You've got convertible shares. We'll go more into that, of how you can sell your business for time being and convert it to shares, depending on certain deliverables. There's also crowdfunding. We'll show some platforms of crowdfunding out there. There's bootstrapping, how to start your business small and upscale it later. Then we talk about our venture capitalism. So your venture capitalist got 3 different types of seed funding that they provide. It's called the 3 series, A, B, and C. We'll go through each of those and how the stages work. We'll also talk in depth about the angel and equity finance. Perfect. Okay, we've now come to the real end. We wish you could stay longer. But yeah, I'm sure that our electricity is probably going to go off now.
Asad, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You can maybe just take over, yeah.
Asad, can you hear me?
Clearly.
Okay, listen, folks, I've typed something in the side in the chat box, but I'm being asked the same thing. If anybody wants to request any recording or ask any question, please, I wrote it in the chat box, but I'm going to say it again. Email us on ulwazigroup@mweb.co.za. I'm going to spell it. U for uncle, L, Lima, W, water, A, alpha, Z, zebra, I, India, Ulwazi Group, GROUP @mweb.co.za. It is in the side in the chat. And then the next thing is, or to Asad, ASAD, @C for Charlie, F for Freddy, O for Olympic, so it's Asad at CFO hire, HIRE.co.za. If you can email one of those two email addresses and request the recording, alternatively, put your question to us, which we will answer next week. And as Asad says, it's going to be more what you're probably looking for. Where can you get funding from? And how do you go about asking for the funding? Thanks very much. Skelo, anything from you, Skelo?
Nothing on my end. Great session, guys. Butwili, I see that you had your hand raised. Please put your question to the chat or send it to the emails.
Skelo, I think what you can do on your side, you can also share your email address in the chat on YouTube and on here. If there's someone who you're also good at translating, maybe some of the stuff we might not understand. Yeah, so that will also be good. Yeah, so we're looking forward to the next sessions. And please, guys, keep the portal. The best place to contact us is through the portal, because we will have a reference code there. It will be documented. And then also the SEDA officials can also keep tabs on us to see if we actually responded. Email would be for those who do not have access, who do not maybe have access to a good internet connection. We're accommodating you guys on that part. But please keep in touch and please put in the portal the future types of requests we have. We've got some good questions coming up, which we'll address in the next session. And yeah, looking forward to the next sessions then. Perfect.
Any question, any last comments from Mr. Malembe, Mchweni, or Haladi?
Okay, thanks Asad for a very informative session, and thank you, Ahmad. I think it was a bit too packed. Maybe next week Thursday we will do a little bit to give it a breather. I think there was too much information, but the three of us will discuss how we will actually improve on that. I think it was too cramped for the 2 hours, a bit of information overload, but a great job indeed. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks very much, folks. See you next week. Thanks and
Perfect.
goodbye.
Thanks everyone. Thanks.